Hey
back
everybody,
to the...
welcome back to
Quiet on set. I usually do it that way. Good to have you
just a
back,
little,
though.
ooh.
Okay, quiet on set.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Awaken Post Show with your host show with the most shows, Joe and Mo.
Mikey is back.
Yep, it's good to be
And
back.
he's
Thanks
back
for saying.
with a new name.
She was just saying off camera how glad she was to have me back this week.
Mostly so that I stop messing up the intro because I don't know it well.
Yeah. And while we were gone, Levi laid down the Smackdown on this week's sermon. Was there anything?
Smackdown.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there anything from it that you related to or that stuck with you throughout the week?
Yeah. So he told the story of Esther, as all of you who've watched it know. The strong Esther trends in that sermon. And he talked about how during that time, it was like not customary for anybody to enter the king's throne room without being invited. Like that was like, you're just going to literally get your head cut off if you do that. And he was talking about that because that's what Esther did. She went into Xerxes' throne room being uninvited to try to save her family and the Jewish people. And he was talking about how, like juxtaposing that with the fact that we can enter the throne room of God anytime that we want. Like we get access.
No big deal.
Yeah, all the time. And so it made me think about how I, a couple of years ago, got to go meet the president. More than a couple of years ago. A lot of years ago, I got to go meet the president, and we had to go through like a whole big thing to go meet him. Like it was...
She's talking about Ronald Reagan, by the way.
Yes. It was really intense. Like background checks, like Lucas, my brother-in-law, couldn't come because he didn't have the same last name as us. Like that's how serious it was. Background checks, like so many metal detectors, like waited outside of the White House for so long. It was this whole big thing, and it was really amazing and really exciting.
Yeah.
But it made me think, like, do I approach God that way of realizing, like, he is so much more important than the president, has so much more power and is so much more mighty. And, like, I don't take advantage of that, you know, and what it would look like in my daily life to view God that way and view my access to him that way and be so thankful and grateful that we as sinful human beings get access to him whenever we want, any time of the day, and he is there to listen to us.
Yeah. I've thought about this a decent amount in that, like, when we are conscious of the fact that we are in the presence of the Lord, we are more choiceful with our words.
Mm-hmm.
I think about this a lot, like when we're at the pearly gates, like I think about, sometimes I'll think, you know, all the questions that I want to ask God and, you know, all the answers I want to know to the things of the earth. And in all reality, when I'm in the presence of the Father, I'm just going to be listening, right? I'm just going to want to receive. Like, there's going to be no words in me, right? And I think that's sort of the challenge that I take away from that is like, if I'm willing to enter into the throne room of the Father at any point in time, I should probably spend more time listening there than worrying about, you know, cracking jokes about Ronald Reagan, when actually it was Barack Obama that you met.
It was. It was.
But yeah, that's a really interesting way to think about that.
Yeah.
You know?
What about you? What did you think about his sermon?
The first thing that caught me is like early on he was talking about COVID. Have you heard about that?
COVID?
Yeah.
What is that? Please.
It's this thing that's been going around a little bit. You know, it's been making its rounds. But it, you know, just talking about and thinking about God's ability. Like we say it a lot. You know, God. Nothing is too big for God, or God is larger than the situation. But, you know, we often think about that in the stance of like, we will persevere because we have God on our side. But is there a step further than just persevering and holding on tight because God's on our side on this one? Is it, you know, Levi, you know, used the example of this could be God challenging the modern church to take online services more seriously, and our online audiences, for those of you at home that can't meet with us on a weekly basis, to take that challenge a little bit more seriously. And I was thinking about my own life, and I don't have a solid example just yet, but what are the ways in which that God can not only help me persevere through this time and like hold on tight to my community and whatever during this time, but also just like what are the ways in which he's calling me to, as Levi put at the end, like act with and react with courageous faith to what's going on around me in my specific situation. Like, I'm limited in my ability to meet with people right now. I'm limited in my ability to have the same sort of community that I have right now. So what is the ways that God is asking me to respond courageously and is going to take this situation, not only have me just like persevere through it, but come out on top of it and push his kingdom forward during this time frame.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think about with that is just on an individual, like my own personal relationship with God, is how much are we using church on Sunday mornings and being in person as a crutch, as the only thing that is holding up our relationship with Jesus, and we're not interacting or encountering him during the week on our own, or with maybe one or two close friends. We're not seeking it out. And how evident that becomes when you don't have that weekly church meeting that you can become, I can become super dependent on.
Yeah, absolutely. Pastor Wintley Phibbs, I think is his name, Phibbs. I might have actually mentioned this on here before, but he talks about the idea of like praying ceaselessly, entering into a state of ceaseless prayer. And the way that he talks about it is that, we live our lives as like... as just events that are momentarily distracted by moments of prayer, right? As opposed to thinking about our lives as like, as prayer, as time in prayer that is punctuated by small distractions of daily life that's happening around us. And so, that could be that push, that shove that you need to get into that space of what does ceaseless prayer look like in my life, and how does that impact when I'm in the presence of the Father and back in his kingdom on a weekly basis, or on a daily and an hourly and a minutely basis,
Yeah, that's really great. Well, speaking of virtual church, for those of you who didn't hear, we are going to continue our virtual services until December 6th. That's when we will plan to hopefully be back in person here for Sunday services. We will still be streaming live Sunday mornings at 10:30 or anytime on our website or Facebook. And you can we'll still be doing the post show and everything else, but just wanted to let you guys know, just in an effort to really help in what's going on with our city right now. We just want to have everyone stay home and join us virtually.
Yep. This is our best way of loving you right now, and we just want to remind you that we do love you, and we'll see you as soon as we can see you.